On the 24th of October, something shifts. You can feel it deep inside even before you can explain it. It's like a quiet whisper that says, what was lost is not gone. The energy of this day carries a reminder that the things we once thought were taken away, broken, or ended are only being prepared for their return. But the truth is, they will not return to the same version of you who once lost them. They return to a stronger, calmer, wiser version of you, one who now understands that loss is never destruction, it is redirection. On the 24th of October, life mirrors itself back to you. You begin to see that everything that left had a purpose. The people, the opportunities, the moments, even the emotions you thought you had buried, they all served their place in your path. What you lost was never punishment. It was the space being cleared for growth. The universe doesn't take without reason. It hides what you're not ready to hold. It removes what your hands are too shaky to carry, but it never removes without the intention to return. When something returns, it carries the energy of transformation. It doesn't come back to repeat the old story. It comes back to begin a new one. 24th October holds that energy, the energy of return, of renewal, of realization. You are not getting back what you lost. You are receiving what you have grown enough to understand. What's coming back to you now has been shaped by time, by distance, and by your silence. You have changed, and because of that everything connected to you is changing too. This day invites you to open your heart without fear. So many people wait for what they lost, but they wait with pain, with doubt, with tightness. They want things back exactly as they were. But life doesn't work that way. The things that come back after time are never the same, and that's the beauty. 24 October is not about the past repeating, it's about the past returning in a higher form, a healed form, a truer form. You must understand loss was never the enemy. It was the teacher that brought you here. It trained your heart to become deeper, your mind to become clearer. You learned patience when nothing made sense. You learned silence when you wanted answers. You learned to rebuild without waiting for someone to save you. All of that growth, all that invisible work you did in the dark, it becomes the foundation for what returns now. 24th October is the day where the unseen becomes seen. When life takes something from you, it is not rejection, it is protection. There were versions of you that would have destroyed what you were given. There were emotions inside you that would have spoiled the gift. But now, after everything, you are ready to hold it again, gently, wisely, with strength. What comes back on the 24th October doesn't belong to the old you. It belongs to the evolved one. That's why you had to lose it first. You will notice signs around you on this day, small moments, sudden messages, emotions that rise without reason. These are not random. They are signals that something once lost is circling back. Maybe not in physical form, maybe as a lesson, a closure, or a peace that replaces pain. Not every return is visible. Sometimes what returns is the sense of meaning, the calm that fills the space where chaos used to live. That is also a return. The truth is, nothing that truly belongs to you can ever be lost forever. You can misplace it. You can walk away from it. You can even forget it for a time. But when your energy matures, when your heart aligns, it finds its way back. Life doesn't steal from you, it circulates through you. Everything is movement, the going away and the coming back. 24th October symbolizes that sacred rhythm. This day is not asking you to chase anything. It's asking you to become ready. When you become whole, what is yours returns naturally. And you are not too big for it. You don't have to fight for it. You simply have to be open to receive. The more you trust, the faster the return happens. The more you resist, the longer the delay. 24th October is a lesson in trust. It's a call to believe that the timing of your life is exact, not late, not cruel, not random, exact. So breathe. Let go of the idea that you've lost something forever. Let 24th October remind you that the universe remembers what is yours. You are walking through a day of realign, This is not coincidence. This is the natural return of what was meant for you all along. You may have cried for it, you may have prayed for it, but now you have grown into it. What's coming back to you will not just fill a space, it will awaken you. It will show you how much strength you've gained through waiting, through healing, through silence. It will prove that everything that left was only gone to teach you how to receive with gratitude, not desperation. This Friday carries the weight of completion, the return of balance, the return of faith, the return of something you once thought was gone. On the 24th of October, stay open. Do not hold the past too tightly. The return will not look like you imagined, but it will feel exactly right. The universe has been waiting for this version of you, the one who understands that losing was never losing. It was preparing. And now that preparation ends, the circle closes. What was lost finds its way home. On the 24th of October, life will test how deeply you can let go. This day is not about holding tighter, it's about releasing what you have been gripping for too long. There is a rhythm in life that only works when your hands are open. When you clutch what you fear to lose, you block what is meant to arrive. This Friday carries the energy of surrender, the moment where you learn that real strength is not in control, it's in trust. Many people pray for things to return, yet they never release their attachment to how or when it should happen. That attachment becomes a cage. The mind keeps replaying the same memory, the same loss, the same pain. But 24 October comes to teach you that freedom and return cannot exist together until you release your grip. What is yours will never vanish. But if you hold it too tightly, it cannot breathe, it cannot grow, and it cannot find its way back to you. On this day, life will mirror your ability to let go. It will not test your patience, it will test your faith. Letting go is not giving up. It is believing that what belongs to you will recognize your energy and return at the right time. You can't pull the flower open before it's ready to bloom, and you can't pull destiny forward before it aligns. 24th October reminds you that waiting is not weakness. It is the quiet strength of those who trust timing more than fear. To let go, you must stop fighting with your own story. Stop replaying the moment of loss. Stop feeding the pain that has already taught its lesson. Every time you repeat it in your mind, you're telling the universe you don't trust it. The universe responds not to your wishes, but to your energy. When your energy says, I'm ready to let go, life begins to move again. It starts to breathe again. On the 24th of October, that breath will return to you, but only if you've made space for it. Think of everything you've been holding onto. People, mistakes, hopes, expectations. Some of them are heavy not because of what they are, but because of how tightly you carry them. The tighter you hold, the more they hurt. Letting go is not erasing. It's understanding. It's saying, I have learned what this was meant to show me, and then freeing it. When you do, the cycle completes. That is the law of balance. You must empty your hands before they can receive again. 24 October is not an ordinary day. It's a crossroad between holding on and allowing flow. Many people will still choose to control. They will still chase, still demand, still try to fix what is meant to unfold naturally. But those who choose to release, they will notice something different. The moment they surrender, things begin to align on their own. Calls they didn't expect, chances they thought were gone, peace that replaced confusion. That is not coincidence. That is the reward of letting go. Life hides its gifts behind detachment. Only those who trust enough to release the weight ever find what's truly meant for them. On this Friday, you may feel like something is slipping away, but in truth, it's being guided back into your path. Purified, renewed, aligned. Sometimes life cannot give you what you want until you show you can live without it. This is the paradox that 24 October reveals. Only when you no longer chase it will it find its way back to you. Letting go is a kind of faith. It says, I do not need to control to be safe. I do not need to hold to be loved. I do not need to understand everything to trust the process. When you reach that state, you stop resisting the flow. The moment you release fear, you invite peace. And peace attracts everything you once thought you lost. On the 24th of October, peace becomes your magnet. You will notice that the moment you stop forcing, things begin to return naturally. People call, doors open, silence feels lighter. The energy around you becomes softer because you are no longer fighting it. The test of letting go is not meant to break you. It's meant to show you how much power you waste trying to control what is already meant for you. The more you let go, the more you grow. This is the quiet lesson behind 24th October, the test of faith before the reward of return. When the mind is attached, it creates tension. That tension blocks intuition. You stop hearing what life is trying to tell you. But when you surrender, you begin to listen again to your heart, to the signs, to the quiet voice that says, trust. That voice becomes clear on this day. 24th October will not ask for force. It will ask for calm. It will ask you to unclench your hands, to loosen your expectations, to open your heart to what comes next. Letting go does not mean forgetting what you love. It means you are no longer trying to control how it loves you back. It means you are giving it freedom, and freedom always returns with gratitude. That is the truth hidden in this day. When you release control, what belongs to you begins to move again. What is real cannot be lost. It can only evolve. On the 24th of October, when you feel the urge to hold on, breathe instead. Let the energy flow through you, not around you. Let life do what it has always done. Guide, shape, and return what is meant for you. Do not chase. Do not fear. Just release. And when you do, something you once lost will begin to find its way back. Not because you fought for it, but because you finally learned how to trust. On the 24th of October, you will begin to understand that what was missing was never truly gone. Every moment of emptiness, every silence, every unanswered question carried a lesson that shaped you from within. The absence you once hated was never your enemy, it was your greatest teacher. Life uses loss to awaken parts of you that comfort could never touch. It removes the noise so you can hear what has always been inside. On this day, something will click. You will see that everything you went through had meaning. The time you spent waiting, the confusion you endured, the loneliness that burned. They were not wasted moments. They were preparation. 24th of October is the moment where the lesson hidden in the loss begins to reveal itself. You start to see that you did not lose, you learned. You did not break, you became aware. In the space where something once existed, you grew roots of strength. You learned how to live without depending on things that were never meant to stay. The hidden lesson of loss is self-discovery. When life takes something away, it forces you to look at what remains. It teaches you to stand on your own energy, your own breath, your own spirit. The silence that followed your loss was not punishment. It was the training ground for your soul. 24th October holds that realization. It is not about the return of what was lost. It is about the awakening that happened in its absence. Pain has a purpose. It clears what is false. It burns away illusions. It makes you aware of your own depth. When something disappears from your life, your first instinct is to chase it, to beg for it back. But life never takes away anything that you are meant to depend on forever. It removes what limits your growth, even if you don't understand it in that moment. That is the wisdom that 24 October brings, understanding that the space left behind was never empty. It was filled with your transformation. In the dark nights, when you cried for what was gone, something inside you was being built quietly. Patience, discipline, focus, awareness. The very qualities you needed to hold what's coming next. The absence taught you how to control your emotions, how to listen deeply, how to act with clarity instead of reaction. That is the hidden blessing. You were never being punished, you were being trained. On the 24th of October, you see the fruit of that unseen training. Life doesn't give the same lesson twice. It will continue to take until you understand what it was trying to show. Some people lose the same things again and again because they never stop to learn. But you, on this day, you start to see. You realize that every ending was preparing you for a new level of maturity. Every silence forced you to develop a voice. Every empty hand taught you how to build something from nothing. That understanding is power. The energy of 24th for October is like a mirror. It reflects back to you who you've become since the moment of loss. You might not even recognize yourself anymore. Calmer, wiser, quieter, stronger. The same pain that once made you feel small has now built your inner mountain. This day brings awareness that the person who was once broken has now become the one who stands unshaken. And that was the purpose of the absence all along. Growth never happens in noise. It happens in silence. The silence that follows loss is where your spirit speaks the loudest. It tells you what truly matters, what no longer belongs, and who you really are beneath all attachments. 24th of October is when that voice becomes clear. The lesson you once resisted now feels like guidance. You stop asking, why did I lose it? And begin saying, thank you for what it taught me. That shift in perspective changes everything. You begin to honor the journey. You begin to see that the absence gave you discipline, the loss gave you gratitude, and the distance gave you perspective. You stop fearing what leaves because you now know that every disappearance holds meaning. The universe does not take to harm, it takes to prepare. It does not close doors to punish, it closes them to redirect. 24th October reminds you that what felt like emptiness was actually alignment in progress. You will feel lighter on this day, not because you received something new, but because you finally understand what the emptiness was for. It built your focus. It polished your patience. It created space for something greater to arrive. You are not the same person who you experienced that loss. The lesson has changed your shape, your rhythm, your energy. You walk differently now, slower, more aware, less reactive. That is growth, and it was born in the space where something used to be. So, on the 24th of October, do not look for what you lost. Look for what it left behind in you. Look at the strength in your eyes, the stillness in your heart, the wisdom in your silence. All of that came from the emptiness. It was never absence. It was evolution. Life doesn't just return what you lose. It first makes you worthy of having it again. The absence was the proving ground. You passed the test. Now you are ready for the return, not because you waited long enough, but because you learned deeply enough. What comes back after 24th October will not come to the same version of you who once begged for it. It will come to the version that finally understands why it had to leave. And in that understanding lies peace. That peace is your reward. That peace is your true return. On the 24th October, everything begins to align, not because you forced it, not because you chased it, but because the time finally matches your readiness. Life always moves in rhythm. It doesn't rush for your comfort, and it doesn't delay for your fear. It waits until who you are inside matches what you are asking for. That is the energy of alignment, and 24th October carries it strongly. On this day, what is meant for you begins to move closer, quietly, naturally, like pieces of a puzzle finally finding their place. Every moment in your life is part of a larger pattern. The struggles, the silence, the waiting, they were not random. They were perfectly timed lessons that shaped your inner balance. You needed them to understand the weight of what's coming. You may have wanted things to happen earlier, but life does not answer impatience. It answers readiness. And now, on the 24th of October, you are aligned enough to receive what was once out of reach. The wait was not delay, it was precision. Timing is divine intelligence at work. It sees the connections you cannot. It knows when the storm must hit and when the calm must arrive. It knows the exact moment when what belongs to you will reappear. You may have thought you lost something, but life was only holding it until you were stable enough to hold it without breaking again. This Friday symbolizes that turning point. the day when your growth and your destiny finally stand in the same light. There is a kind of peace that comes when you stop fighting the clock, when you stop asking when and start trusting. No, that peace opens doors faster than pressure ever could. 24th of October brings that lesson to life, the understanding that alignment is more powerful than effort. You can run fast, but if you're running in the wrong direction, you'll still arrive late. But when you align yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, everything begins to meet you halfway. What is meant for you does not need to be chased. It needs to be aligned with. The right moment finds you when you are standing in the right energy. On the 24th October, the energy of readiness surrounds you. Everything that once felt distant begins to move closer, but not through noise or rush. It moves through balance. You have stopped forcing, and that is why it comes back. The energy that matches your calm always returns to you. Look back at the times when things didn't work out. The job, the relationship, the chance, they didn't fail. They were simply out of rhythm. You weren't ready to carry their weight. You still had lessons to learn, wounds to heal, clarity to build. Life was waiting for you to evolve into the version that could hold the blessing with wisdom, not fear. That is why 24th October feels different, because you are different. You no longer chase, you no longer beg, you simply allow. This is the day when the unseen forces begin to synchronize around you. You will notice coincidences, messages that arrive at the perfect time, meetings that feel destined, emotions that suddenly make sense. These are not accidents. They are alignment signals. When you move in harmony with yourself, life begins to communicate through timing. Everything that is meant for you begins to fit effortlessly without resistance. That is what 24th October represents: effortless alignment born from inner peace. There is a natural law that governs return. It states that when you stop interfering, everything that belongs to you finds its way home. Interference comes from fear. Fear that you'll miss your chance. Fear that you'll be forgotten. Fear that life won't remember you. But life never forgets. It only waits for you to vibrate on the same frequency as your blessing. This is what you are stepping into on the 24th of October, a higher vibration where patience replaces panic and flow replaces control. You cannot rush what has eternal timing. The river flows at its own pace. You can fight the current or you can learn to float. Those who float reach the shore with less pain. On this Friday, life asks you to float, to stop fighting what is already working for you. The timing of your return is not in your hands, but your readiness is. Focus on that. Because when your energy is clean, when your intentions are honest, when your heart is steady, the timing no longer matters. It comes naturally. 24th of October is not about miracles falling from the sky. It's about recognizing that you have to become aligned enough to receive what was always meant to return. You are not the person who lost it. You are the person who understands its value now. That understanding itself is alignment. Life doesn't reward need, it rewards maturity. And that maturity is what this day reveals in you. When you live in alignment, nothing feels forced anymore. You stop trying to make things happen. You stop chasing approval, control, or guarantees. You move with grace because you finally see that timing is your ally, not your enemy. Everything that was taken from you, everything that didn't work before, is now returning in its true form, stronger, balanced, and ready. And it happens not because of luck, but because of timing. So on the 24th of October, walk slowly, speak less, observe more. You will see how perfectly life unfolds when you stop resisting. The opportunities that once slipped away will begin to reappear. The people who are meant to cross your path will do so effortlessly. The answers you searched for will rise quietly from within. This is the power of divine alignment. It brings peace before it brings reward. And that is the gift of 24th October. It is the moment when everything you've lost begins to return, not through force, not through chance, but through alignment. You will see that timing has never failed you. It has been shaping you. What returns now does not arrive late, it arrives right on time. On the 24th October, something inside you will awaken, not because the world changes, but because you finally see yourself clearly. This is the day when faith is reborn, when purpose returns after being silent for too long. You will begin to understand that what was lost did not disappear to break you. It disappeared to rebuild your trust in something far greater than control. The return that happens on the 24th of October is not about an object, not about a person, but about a part of you that had forgotten how to believe. There comes a time in every life when faith fades, when too many disappointments make you doubt your own path, when you start to move through days with heavy steps, expecting little, fearing more. But then, without warning, something small happens, a moment, a message, a sign, and it reminds you that life still listens. 24th October holds that kind of moment. It is the quiet spark that reignites what has been asleep inside your heart. It is the return of belief in timing, in balance, in yourself. When you lose faith, your world loses color. Everything becomes routine, predictable, empty. You begin to act but not live. You begin to exist but not feel. And then something shifts not outside but within. On this day, you will notice that the things you thought were gone forever begin to come back to life, but they come back differently. They return not to fill a space, but to remind you who you have become. That is the power of 24th October. It marks the rebirth of purpose through understanding. You see, faith isn't about expecting everything to be easy. It's about continuing even when nothing makes sense. It's about trusting that life's timing, no matter how painful, is not your enemy. What returns on this day is that understanding that life was never against you. It was shaping you through waiting, breaking, and rebuilding. The delays were never denials. They were lessons. You needed them to grow into the person who could carry what you once begged for. 24th October brings clarity. The fog begins to lift. You start to see how everything that happened, the losses, the silence, the confusion, was part of a single thread that led you here. You see that the pain didn't destroy you, it purified you. You no longer crave what you once wanted. You crave peace, purpose, and alignment. You crave meaning. That shift is not small. It is evolution. It is faith being born again, this time not as hope, but as knowing. This is also the day when you realize that purpose doesn't come from what you gain, but from what you understand. The things you lost taught you direction. The emptiness taught you strength. The waiting taught you patience. You had to walk through the dark to recognize your own light. And now, on the 24th of October, you carry that light differently. Quieter, steadier, but brighter. You no longer look outward for confirmation. You look inward for truth. That is faith in its purest form. Life always returns what you are ready to hold. You can't receive peace while carrying chaos. You can't attract purpose while holding doubt. That is why things had to fall apart to make room for what truly belongs. What returns now does not simply fill an old place, it transforms it. The love that comes back, the peace that returns, the clarity that awakens, they don't restore the old version of your life. They awaken a new version of you. 24th October carries that awakening. It is not about recovery, it's about rebirth. You have walked through enough storms to know now that faith is not found in the easy days. It's built in silence, in waiting, in surrender. You have learned that control brings exhaustion while trust brings flow. And as you step into this day, you feel lighter, not because life is perfect, but because you finally stopped fighting what's meant to be. That surrender brings a different kind of power. The kind that doesn't need to prove, doesn't need to chase, doesn't need to fear. On this day, your energy becomes magnetic again. You stop asking, when will it come back? Because you already feel it returning, not in form, but in presence. The peace, the meaning, the strength, they begin to surround you. You notice beauty in small things again. You feel gratitude where you used to feel pain. That shift is the sign that you have grown. 24 October is not just a date. It is a reflection of your transformation. Faith is not blind anymore. It is built on experience. It is born from the proof that you survived everything meant to break you. Purpose is not a destination anymore. It is in your breath, your awareness, your calm. When something returns to you now, it doesn't come to complete you, it comes to mirror the completion already within you. What returns after 24th October doesn't just belong to your life, it belongs to your growth. So when the sun rises on this day, breathe deeply. Let it remind you that nothing is ever lost in the hands of time. What left your life once is finding its way back through new paths. What you thought was gone forever was simply being prepared to meet you in your new strength. You are not waiting anymore, you are receiving. You are not begging, you are allowing. 24 October is the day when the circle closes, when faith returns, not as a concept, but as a living truth. When purpose stops being an idea and becomes a state of being. Everything that left has served you. Everything that comes back will serve you differently. The old chapter is finished. What returns now will not just bring comfort, it will bring awakening, because now you are not the same. You have become the person who no longer fears loss, because you understand that everything lost in faith always finds its way back in purpose.